The number one challenge I hear over and over again from entrepreneurs is I'd like to have more clients and customers, the right clients and customers. Well, today you're in for a very special treat. I have a fellow serial entrepreneur who's been out there creating value for his clients, doing amazing things. But in the last 20 years, he's focused on only one item: how you can get a steady stream of clients beyond referrals. It's an amazing methodology. We're very aligned. I've known Bill for over 20 years now, and he's been doing this, and he's an amazing individual. You need his methodology, his strategies, his tactics in his business so that you can accelerate your success. That's why we're here at aesnation.com. I'm John Bowen. Stay tuned, and your future clients are going to be glad you did.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
I am so excited to have you. You and I have known each other and of each other for a long time, but we haven't had a chance to really hang out together, even if it's virtual over Skype. But first of all, thank you for joining us and being willing to share your, extremely valuable insights with your fellow entrepreneurs.
You bet, John. It's my pleasure. Always good to do something for you. I respect the work you've done for many years as well.
No, we're both out there making a difference, and this is one of the reasons why we're here at aesnation.com is to share. We've been blessed, we're privileged, and we want to share the experience and bring together some great entrepreneurs like yourself. And Bill, I want to go into, you're known, as kind of the referral coach. I'm going to call you referral king. And you've been doing the research for an awful long time, and more recently you've kind of reframed it beyond referrals. And I'm very aligned, and we use some of the same methodology, and with our clients, and it's just been huge. It's been both for our coaching clients as well as in our own business. So I want to really spend some time there. But one of the parts is I want to get the backstory. How do you you got a lot of discipline to stay focused on one thing for 20 years and do it really well. But how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, well, we don't have time for the whole story, but I'll give you a real executive briefing. I guess I started out after college as a drummer in a rock and roll band, and I toured the country for a few years, and then I did an assessment of my talent and realized I'd be playing Holiday Inns for the rest of my life if I didn't do something differently. So over a series of events, I got into the book publishing business, and I started and built and sold actually 2 book publishing companies, and one was with a partner, one was on my own. So the second sale was really to the partner, and then I was looking for the next thing to do, and realized that my passion was to learn and grow. And I was pretty good at explaining things to people, and that drummer part of me, a little bit of entertainment, and so I realized that this world of speaking and writing, and now they call it thought leadership, was really suited for me, and I was suited for it. So staying focused on the referral process has not been a problem for me, because it really, there's a lot more to it than some people think. There's some depth, there's some breadth. And I can honestly say, John, with maybe the exception of you, I don't think there's anybody else on the planet that knows more about this process than I do. And I know that sounds like I'm bragging, but I spent 20 years at this, and I've worked with many entrepreneurs, financial advisors, small business owners, you name it. I've seen it all, and I'm very passionate about it, and I think we need it more now than ever. I think referrals are more important now than ever before because, cost of mailing.
Well, there's so much noise out there. I think I totally agree. It's, relationship business. We're all becoming more alienated. Depending on what study you believe, there's as many as 4,000 marketing messages the average successful individual gets every day. And I don't know, some days it feels like even more. It's not that we see them, we recognize everyone, but we're flooded. And to do that, boy, when we get that, introduction and a referral from someone that we trust, I mean, it's invaluable. Let me
Cuts
start.
through all the noise. Cuts through all the noise, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's so appreciated too. So, let's start, Bill. Really with kind of how you think about it, and you've given me a couple bullets I want to walk you through. And the very first one is your referral mindset, and
Right.
I mean, so much of life is mindset. No matter what we do, but in relationship, boy, this is really important. How does this come together?
Yeah, I call it having a referral brain. It's some people are born with it naturally, and some people have to learn it. And there's a lot to it, but I'll give you a couple of nuggets real quick. First of all, it's making the decision to build a business based on how people want to meet you, rather than having referrals be an afterthought, icing on the cake. They are the cake, right? The way of the world is meeting people through other people, and the referral is that warm way we get into their life. And these days, of course, I've been using the word introduction, which we'll get to a little bit later. So, building a business based on that. And let me give you an example of making sure that we tap into the full lifetime value of a client or a customer. Many of your folks who follow you will be familiar with a concept called NPS, Net Promoter Score. And it's a client or customer service measurement that says, are you willing to refer that business? Are you willing to recommend that business? And that's a good question to ask. Obviously, that's a good sign of customer or client satisfaction. And so all these businesses are working really hard to increase their net promoter scores. Are we getting 8s and 9s in our NPS? There's a book written called The Ultimate Question. And it's a very good book, and it's a must read. And yet, I would say that it's not the ultimate question. The ultimate question is not, are they willing to refer you? The ultimate question is, are they doing it? And are you getting connected from your customers or clients? And do you have processes and programs in place to encourage and make sure it happens rather than leave it to chance? Most people leave this to chance. And so having a process and being really committed rather than dabbling in the referral process. So, I mean, I just spoke for a group. We helped them increase their referral business by 500% over the last year, just by putting the right focus on it, right? What you put your attention on grows stronger in your life. Keeping the score raises the score. All these little expressions that I like to use, and it's just about focus, and having a few systems in place doesn't hurt.
No, I think this is so critical what you're sharing, Bill, because when a fellow entrepreneur, Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, Dan, I joined his program about 4 years ago, and quite honestly, I was not in my new businesses. When I was in financial services and providing services to the affluent and ultra affluent, we were extremely systemic referrals and introductions. And then in our new business, the CEG, the coaching side, not the entrepreneur side, we've been doing it for about 10 years, or not quite 10 at that point. And I asked Dan, growing his business, what was most important, and over half his business was referral. And he shared with me the systems he was doing, and that just immediately boy, I mean, how could I have missed that? A duh moment. And we put it.
I'm sorry, could I let you in on a little secret?
Sure.
I know Dan. I did his program, and Dan used my video training program to train his sales staff in how to get proficient with referrals.
Well, and he's executing, I can tell you now, and so, I mean, I didn't know you helped me on this too, Bill. And right now, we're not quite at 50% of our new business coming in is through, I use the term as you do, introductions. But it's all about results and creating the system. So, I mean, but the first thing is you got to have the mindset that there is going to be the system and this experience you're going to deliver.
Right.
Let's take it a next step. And one of the, people get so frustrated they don't get referrals. And you call it enhancing their referability. Some people aren't very referable. I mean, how do we enhance our ability? We don't. Well, and I'm thinking of it. They don't deliver a great experience. I've had some car dealers jumped into my mind, as I said, where they're not going to be very high on the referability scale. But how do our fellow entrepreneurs, as they're listening to this on the audio podcast or if they're watching on the videos, how do they become more referable and enhance that?
Right, and believe it or not, I've helped car dealers increase their referrals. I have a ongoing video program for one of their big channels, and I've helped bankers. I've helped pest control folks, and one of my big niches, of course, is financial services. Just worked with a bank yesterday. Work with financial advisors all over the world. Going to India this next week to speak to 1,000 financial professionals there. So I'm going to say something that may surprise people. It sounds a little counterintuitive, but it's true. And that is that most satisfied clients do not give referrals. And so here we have all this attention on satisfied clients, loyal clients, and I'm not saying that's misplaced attention. Of course we want satisfied clients. Of course we want loyal clients. However, that in and of itself is not enough to drive the type of referral business that most people want. So what's the next level? Well, research shows that the next level is what we like to call an engaged client. Julie Littlechild with Advisor Impact in Toronto has done some wonderful research in this area, as I know you guys have as well. And it's the engaged client. When the client feels engaged with the rep, with the company, with the firm, and I have a hierarchy of engagement we could go through a little bit, but that's what it takes. So in her study, 20% of satisfied clients, while they were very loyal, only 20% gave referrals in the preceding 12 months. However, of engaged clients, 98% of them gave one or more referral in the previous 12 months. So how do we create those engaged clients? And that's the hierarchy, that's the experience. So if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind running through it for folks.
And we have that research too on our side. I mean, I think we've surveyed over 30,000 financial advisors and probably 20,000 affluent individuals with over $1 million of financial assets. And we use a little different terminology, but it's really when they've emotionally connected with that person. They have a vested interest. They not only have you differentiated yourself, but you're distinctive. They really, they want to share you. And, so how do you help, our fellow entrepreneurs get to that point to be able to enhance that referability?
Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of financial professionals watching this, and there are many other types of businesses represented too. And this really cuts through any kind of business. It might be adjusted a little bit here and there, but it's pretty much the same thing. So the first level of this hierarchy is having an initial process that's referable. In other words, bringing such a valuable initial process to your new prospect, not just trying to make the sale, bring them on as a client, but actually create value in a lot of different ways through the questions you ask, through the things you teach them, and having an onboarding process that becomes referable, that you're getting referrals without even asking, because that starts the engagement. Here's the good news, is that it doesn't necessarily take a long time to create this feeling of engagement. For instance, here's one thing that anyone can do very quickly in a relationship that builds the engagement, and that is talk about what the future of the relationship is going to look like, how you're going to stay in touch, how many times you're going to meet for business purposes, whether you're going to go break bread, the golf, charity golf outing that you do in the summer, etc. Lay that out, show them your client promise, and what happens is they start to feel that sense of engagement before you actually even do that for them. And so they're feeling that. And then a great question you can ask them, by the way, how does this compare to who you were working with in the past? And if you have a good process in place, they're going to say, oh, this is head and shoulders above that. So that's level one, having a referable process, if you will. The next level would be responsive service. Now, everyone says they give responsive service. Most people do. It's table stakes. It's what it takes to be in the game. And if you're not giving responsive service, you're history. But that in and of itself does not distinguish you. It does not necessarily increase your referability. Not having it will decrease your referability, but you got to have it to stay in the game, keep the business. All right, so what's above that? Well, continuing to add value. We have to keep bringing value. Otherwise, we're no longer necessary. And this is true for any business. Now, some businesses lend themselves to that more easily by the nature of the work they do. But we got to make sure I have a process or a system in place to do that. Now, why do people give referrals? Because they saw the value in the work you did. They may, they could like you and think you're cool, but if they don't see the value, they're not going to give you referrals. So that's pretty fundamental. Next level is what we call business friendship. where you do start to create that sense of something more than just the core work that you do together. If someone comes to visit with you, don't just walk them to the elevator or the door, walk them to their car. And then when you get outside the building, all of a sudden the conversation changes, and client appreciation events and celebration events. I could tell you great stories of how to do celebration events for your clients, and you build that business friendship. But we're not done yet. The final level is what I call opening the curtain. And this is when we have now earned the right to talk to our clients, our customers, about trying to bring our value to other people, what it would look like, how we would handle if they thought of someone, who we're trying to serve, people much like you, and educating them a little bit about your business, sharing your vision of your business, but always going to the statement and what that means to you, or what that would look like for you, or how that relates to you. So when you talk about your vision, but you always do it back and what it means to them, a client-centric way to talk about your vision. So when you put those 5 things into the process, now you've got true client engagement. And as I found also, as you go up the ladder of engagement, you also go up the ladder of advocacy. These people, as they see your value and then build the business friendship and then know who you're trying to serve and why, and the passion you feel for the work you do, now they become your advocates, and they know how to be your advocates. That's important. Not only that they want to be, that they're willing to recommend,
this is
but
so
they know
good,
how
Bill.
to do it.
I'm going to tell everybody, remember that all this is transcribed. If you couldn't take the notes as quickly, the show notes, and then we have a full transcription you can get at aesnation.com. Because Bill, what I'm hearing from you, and I see it over and over again in what we're doing. This is just so important, and they can make they really go ahead and do. That build that relationship so that now all of a sudden they've connected. And as they've connected, what they have is they really want to go ahead and share that experience they're having with you with the people they care about. And that's where this takes off. And I want to go to the kind of the next step that you have, which is promoting referrals. Because we've got the mindset, we've laid a great client experience, so we're there. How do we start bringing this so that it's in action? Because we're all about results.
Right. So you need to be referable, and you need to be appropriately proactive. And there's 2 ways to be proactive. One is to promote referrals or introductions. Actually, John, let's stop for a second. Just say referrals are irrelevant, right? Referrals are worthless unless what? Unless you turn them into introductions and set the appointment and create the new client. So we're not talking about referrals or introductions for referral's sake. We're talking about a process that leads to the new client and the right kind of client. So what is promoting referrals? Sometimes I refer to it as planting referral seeds. It's things we can say early and throughout a relationship with a client, even a prospect sometimes, that just kind of brings it up in conversation a little bit. It does a few things. First of all, some of the ways I teach to promote referrals, very often turning the referrals right on the spot. You have someone that's seeing the value. All you have to do is just nudge the process just a little bit, and they open up. In some cases, it goes into their unconscious, and then later they're having a conversation around the value that you provide, and then they think of you, and that planting that seed, that promotion kicks in. Also, a third thing it does is it acts as a barometer of their relationship to the referral process. So, for instance, if I said, "Hey, John, just make sure I'm never too busy to see if I can be a resource for other people you care about." How you respond to that could give me an indicator as to whether you're open to it. You may say, "Oh, great, absolutely, we're definitely going to keep you in mind," or you may say, "Well, we're pretty private, but I appreciate that." So how a client responds to that planting of the seed or promoting will give you an indicator where to go next. Now, this is not to be confused with asking for referrals. This is promoting. This is creating possible introductions, definitely creating word of mouth. This is where, social media comes into play, where, I know financial advisors can't do Twitter much or Facebook much. They can, but it's, guided by compliance.
A lot of regulatory things. Plus, hitting Twitter, 15 times a day can get a little old.
Yeah. But your clients are on Facebook, your clients are on Twitter, your clients are on LinkedIn. And when they have an experience that they like, and you maybe nudge the process, then they'll do it, and they'll do it plenty. And I know many, advisors, other business people have gotten business recommendations based on someone sending out a tweet or a Facebook post. So I'll give you my classic planting seed, promoting referrals. I gave you one. I'm never too busy. That's, it's pretty commonplace. But here's one I've been teaching forever. It's the title of one of my books. And I didn't make up the phrase, but I've been popularizing it quite a bit. And it's simply, don't keep me a secret, right? Don't keep me a secret. A client says, hey, you've done a great job for us. Great. Please don't keep me a secret. Or don't keep us a secret. Or don't keep the work we do a secret. And I have seen so many people get referrals without even asking, just from this little thing. And now to say, don't keep me a secret, there's a little smile on the end of that, isn't there? It's kind of a fun thing to say. So if you don't have a sense of humor, don't use that one. I have others for you. But the beautiful thing is that it creates that smile, and whenever you can have fun in this process, it makes everything easier. So
no, it's really, I mean, it's a great line, and it's a great framing. And now let's go, one of the things, again, about results, point 4 is asking for referrals. We've gone ahead, we've got the mindset, we've positioned our client experience, we've been laying the seeds. How do we make sure this happens systemically?
Right. Well, I have a little process I call the VIPS method. I'll go through it very quickly. V stands for value discussion. Without question, this is the most important thing I talk about, is the checking in with the prospect, checking in with the client, to make sure that they see the value in the meeting, in the process, in the relationship. And it's not a closed-ended question setup. It's not, have you found value in this process? Yeah, great. Who do you know? No. It really is a discussion, even if you don't go any further, just to check in more often. And this will create referrals without even asking. That's the V. The I is treat the request with importance, come from a place of confidence, come from a place of believing in the work that you do. We're trying to serve others. P is permission to brainstorm or explore. So it's a collaborative process, but there's no pressure to it. Brainstorm, collaborative, no pressure. And then S is suggest names and categories. We're always more effective when we come to the table with a possibility of who we might suggest. I just took a call right before we got on with recording this from a very successful advisor. I've been coaching him for 10 years. He has a $5 million practice. He has $600 million of investable assets under management. And he has a meeting coming up with a guy next week, and he says, where do I suggest names? I picked up this information on LinkedIn. How do I bring it into the conversation with a guy, not thinking I was stalking him? And so we worked through that, and we strategized on his best approach. That was natural and authentic for him. So that's how I want to end this VIPS thing, is that it's got to be natural and authentic. Now, with that said, it may be a step out of your comfort zone if you haven't been doing it. But if you do it enough and practice a little bit, it's no longer a step out of your comfort zone. It just is for a little while.
Yeah, no, and one of the, success happens when you leave that comfort zone. You don't have to go too far out, but go a little out, stretch yourself. I'm going to bring up a tool just here. I don't know if you've run into it, Bill. It's fairly new, Refresh.
I've heard of it. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, use it, and the reason why I like it for all our fellow entrepreneurs, you can use it as an app, you can use it on the browser, but where it's really powerful is it creates a dossier. Every morning I get a report, and I've got a report on you, Bill, all the connections, and if we did know each other, how we could start the conversation and start. And I've actually even used that to print out, to share with someone, because it will show all the connections through our various relationships on social media, and it's a great conversational piece as well.
And if you have an engaged relationship, then you can be transparent. It's not a problem.
No, I think that's the biggest part, is that you've got to lay the foundation that you've done, the mindset, enhancing the referability to deliver a great client experience. And that means that you're transparent, you're authentic, and then you're planting the seeds, and then just doing this. And you could do it in a way of sharing this as a tool, if it's applicable in your business, to share this as a tool. And it's like, oh yeah, I want to see, let me see, because it is interesting when you look at your report of what comes up, and it's free. Now,
and have fun with that, because here's what you could do. You could say, look, I've identified a few folks, and gosh, if you were me, who would you avoid on this list? And so what happens? They laugh, they smile.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, that's a great line because, yeah, let me look at it closely here because there's probably a lot.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, let's go. Let's take the fifth step, which is, one of the things is they get, all of a sudden you get excited and they're giving, Bill, you should meet with, Joe, Sally, and Harry. Okay, well, great. Okay, well, how do we take it from there? How do we go ahead and secure the introductions to really make sure that this all happens?
Yeah. Hence the title of my latest book, Beyond Referrals, right? We've got to go beyond referrals to the introduction and, of course, beyond to the new client. But think of creating the introduction like this. The Food and Drug Administration, when it's evaluating a drug for the market, is looking for two things. Is the drug safe and is the drug effective? And that needs to be, I believe, our mindset, our approach to getting introduced, meaning we want this introduction to feel safe, to feel comfortable to the person giving the referral, to the person receiving it, the new prospect. They need to feel comfortable in this process, and it needs to be effective. So it could be as simple as, John, let's talk a little bit about your friends. Let's see if we can come up with an approach that, number one, feels comfortable to you and to them. And obviously, I'd like to pique their attention just enough so they'd be willing to have that 10-minute phone conversation with me like you and I started. So that's it. And then we think through it, we figure it out. And here's what I found. Just by talking through this introduction a little bit, just getting a sense that they appreciate that you want to do it in a comfortable way, but then they start to take a stake in it. They start to get invested in making sure it goes through. So rather than having these referrals that fall through the cracks, we actually have someone giving us referrals, making an introduction, and they want to make sure it goes through. They want to make sure we get connected. And then we go from there. They've done their job. But it is their job to help with the connection if they believe in the work we do and if they believe their friends, family, colleagues could also benefit.
Well, in the process you've done, I got to tell you, Bill, we do something similar to this, and it's not as robust as yours, but it works. And what happens, they want to share you then, and they need some guidance on how to share. You can't just leave it. And let me go to the next segment because this leads into it, and it's the book of the day. What I'd like to do is let me bring up on screen your latest book, because this is, people who want to go beyond this podcast and insights can go to your book, Beyond Referrals, How to Use the Perpetual Revenue System. Oh, I just love that, to convert referrals into high-value clients. Bill, what are they going to find in the book?
Well, they're going to find the perpetual revenue system. I didn't create this dynamic. I gave a name to it, and it's really quite simple. It is be referable. Serve your clients or customers well. You become referable. You get referrals without asking, or you're proactive. You get the referral, now what? You turn into an introduction. You get connected, now what? Well, you got to set the appointment, whether it's on the phone or in person. Some way you got to talk to this new prospect of yours. And then ultimately you want to turn a new prospect, if it's a win-win, into a client. So those are the 4 steps. Now, when you have this new client, what happens? Well, you serve them well, you create a good experience, you become referable, and so it's perpetual. But here's the kicker. The beautiful thing about this is that since clients or customers can give us more than one referral and introduction over time, then not only does it grow the business, linearly, it grows it exponentially. And so by having this process in place, it mushrooms. And since clients who come into a business are about 2.5 times more likely, through a referral, are about 2.5 times more likely to give a referral, over time, when this becomes your primary driver, it gets easier and easier and expands faster and faster because of
Well, and the lifetime client value. I mean, one of the things all of us as entrepreneurs want to do is we want to deliver a lot of value to our clients.
Sure.
Well, sometimes, our pricing, just the initial pricing isn't enough to deliver a lot of value. But if you are able to put your practices into place, this beyond referrals, all of a sudden the lifetime value of every single client becomes so significant because of all the people that they're going to introduce you to. It's amazing.
So part of back to the referral brain, it's understanding that the lifetime value of a client or a customer isn't just the business they can do with you over a lifetime, which is great, substantial. We want to get it. We want to serve them. And it's also who they can introduce you to over a lifetime if you have some mechanisms in place to facilitate that process.
No, that's great. Let's go to the next segment, which is applications. Application of the day. And Bill, you and I both do a little bit of traveling along the way.
Amen.
On your smartphone, what do you recommend to your fellow entrepreneurs?
Yeah, it's funny, John, when you asked me about this and I was thinking about it, other than watch ESPN, so I can, and now watch BTN, that my Maryland Terrapins have moved to the Big Ten, so I'm watching the Big Ten network. Other than those two apps, it'd be Flight Track. It's because I'm on a plane or I'm on the ground and I want to know, is my flight on time? Is my next flight on time? If I miss that flight, what's next? What's in line, just in case? And so I probably look at Flight Track about more than anything, except for maybe the weather.
No, and when you're sitting at the airport, it's easy to get concerned that the flights are going to be on time. And I'm sure you're like me, we can make quick changes along the way. Let me go to the next segment, which is resources. Bill, tell me about what you have available on your website.
Sure, I appreciate it. It's referralcoach.com, and we serve different types of individuals and businesses. So we can serve an individual financial advisor, an individual professional, an individual small business solopreneur. We certainly have tools for that in terms of video, and we have a Referral Coach Academy, which is online, and books, and all those things you might expect. And then we also serve the level of the corporate office, the home office, and many companies, very large companies, in fact, will bring us in to educate their field force. So if you go to referralcoach.com, you can enter what makes sense for you, whether it's the individual portion or the corporate portion. Check out our store. I really do encourage you to look at our Referral Coach Academy, because it is a state-of-the-art way of training. There's nothing else out there like it. You'll love the little demo video, because you've never seen anything like that before. It's very interactive. And so I don't want to promote too much, but
no. Well, let me promote a little bit, because there's a lot of value there. And then Bill, you offered, and we'll put it in the link on the notes, the AESnation.com, the Referral Coach /reports. Let me put it up on screen, and there's all kinds. I mean, this is just invaluable that the Bill's making available to you. So take him up on the offer. There's some. Yeah, to me, this whole concept can easily grow your business 20% a year, and that if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to grow 20 to 40% to attract the right clients, to build the right team. If you're looking at accelerating success.
No question, I've done it many times.
Yeah, no, I have as well. Let me go to the key takeaways. I'm going to just go over, to me, there are 5 key takeaways. Number one, you got to have a referral mindset. You really have to be thinking this. You want to think big picture. You want to go buy Bill's, book. You want to beyond referrals. You want to go over play the podcast again, look at the show notes. But you got to have that mindset. Second, to me, the number one thing is you got to nail that client experience. You've got to build it out. You've got to be referable. Third is you've got to lay the little seeds, as Bill's talking about, and being authentic and genuine and letting them know why you are the right one for their friends, their business associates, whatever type of business you're in, that they should want to introduce you. And then you need to ask. You got to put it in motion. And really, if you've done a great job, like Bill suggests, it's not asking, it's offering them to share you with the people they care about, that share that experience. And then last is, that none of this works unless you secure the introductions. And you're going to be amazed how well they are going to promote you, but also make it happen through securing the introductions. Okay, with that, Bill, let me thank you again. This has been, so valuable to our AES Nation mastermind group, and I want to encourage everyone out there to go out and, this is so important for your existing clients, because if you're referable, they want to share you, and all those future clients, they're counting on you, so don't let them down. We wish you the best of success.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. aesnation.com.